Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Chase Johnson Lynch, and once again, I'm here with the Community Podcast here on Big Condo Online. Please like and subscribe because hopefully you're enjoying the changes that we're making this year. Feel like we got a brand new studio. If you can actually touch the wall, it feels like brick and everything. And what I wanted to do for my first podcast in the new year is welcome one of our favorite hosts. I'm not picking them out of everyone, but it's just that because I feel like this is a diamond in the rough because he started out on my show here, the Community Podcast, doing a couple of interviews with me, and then I decided this gentleman needed his own show. So first of all, let me introduce him and welcome back to the studio, the new studio, James Diboe.
How you doing, Chase? Great to be back on Big Condo Radio, but now it's Big Condo Online.
That's right. Change is in the air, James, and it changes all the time. And what do you think of the new studio, by the way?
It looks amazing. It's great. It's amazing what you've done with it. It's like a whole nother place. The microphones are great.
Yeah.
Great sound. You've got your TV.
Yeah, exactly. Because we will be actually utilizing the TV in our set soon on different shows and everything. Because we'll be adding a third camera that gets the wide 2-shot and everything. But for now, we're still in the simple 2-shot, cutting back and forth. And but once again, like I said, James, let's go back in time a little bit because, like I said, I feel like I'm discovering you, and it's a gift for me and for our audience because, you started doing the Discovering with James Diboe podcast, late, in 20, what are we in, 2020? Late in 2020, and August.
The first show.
And it's just been going from strength to strength, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's been building itself, and the first time you invited me on,
yeah.
We started off talking about the world travels. We were talking about the ancient structures around the world and meeting chiefs, tribal leaders. And then you went back on with Patrick Graham.
Yeah.
And we talked about the importance of African history.
Yeah.
And Patrick's book also. And then you got me back on again to do the return.
Yeah. And which was supposed to be a project that you were working on that will take young people to Rwanda or?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we always have to say unfortunately because of our times, that project has not taken off. Because it was supposed to happen, I believe, in this time, 2021 now. Yeah,
because time's gone so fast. It's since this pandemic we've been in that, everything's been pushed back. Funding's getting more difficult. It's the same story with everybody, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But also, too, is I think we should also take this time to let people know about your company, Cultural Solution. Culturolution. Well, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's a tongue twister for people. But Culturolution, CIC, which is also on Instagram and all the social media platforms. Can you just tell people what Culturolution is?
Well, I called it Culturolution. The origin of the name, it was expanding the name of myself. It was called Diboe. That's because my name's James Diboe. So it's a spiritual thing when I came with Diboe. Yeah. So what happened is I came with Culturolution, and I wanted to deal with the roots of cultures.
Yeah.
So when I say the roots of cultures, you say you go into Southeast Asia, for example, and show you some of them tribes who visit the first peoples, because a lot of people are not aware. The indigenous peoples, because a lot of people are not aware of who the indigenous people are. So I called it Culturolution, and also going into the South Pacific, or whether we're dealing with Africa being the first of humanity, first civilizations, and also you've got the Olmecs over in ancient America.
Because also, too, is trying to show the new effect of what the new studio gives us. What we'll do is let's cut to one of our pictures that we have out of your many pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And if you could tell us, well, not only what the structure is, but where it is.
It's in Cambodia, Siem Reap, Cambodia, and this is Angkor Wat, and it's built about around the 12th century AD times. And it's done by the king, and these were Buddhist, but according to some people, they were actual Hindus. Now it's because you've got a lot of Buddhists there. You see a lot of the people who are Buddhists, but Hinduism came to there first.
Yeah,
and Buddhism is also an extension of Hinduism, but obviously Buddhism was I prefer Buddhism, me personally. I think
so. Is this a temple where the Buddhists practice or prayed or anything like that?
Well, they can practice pray there, but it's also it's for the kings originally, and it's just an amazing structure and the size of this place. It must be like, it's huge. I mean, it took me. I got dropped off there, and he said, "I'll pick it up in 2 hours," and I didn't think I needed 2 hours. Yeah, well, you might even need a bit more. So
you could tour around the place.
You tour around.
So what do you see inside?
Well, it's just all sorts of different Buddhas you'll see. You'll see all sorts of... I actually went into... Because it's broken into 3 parts, you see. This is Angkor Wat, but then obviously later we show you Angkor Thom. Angkor Thom is where the Bayan temples are.
Right.
Now, these huge faces, these remind me a bit of the Olmecs in Mexico.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's done by, like, when I say the same types of people, because they're within different time periods when these are being built. Like the Olmecs is like 1500 BC, and this is like 1200 AD. But the same kind of idea is the same what's traveled around the world. Like, these are very similar to the Indus Valley or ancient Egypt, for example.
Well, what about African influence?
Well, when we say Egypt, that is Africa. And
you know what, bruv? I mean, I should slap myself, but yeah.
Well, Kemet, we called it back in the day. And remember, when we're dealing with pyramids or anything like that, Sudan, Nubia is older. And then you can deal with sub-Saharan Africa, which is older, according to Dr. Yoshi Ben Yakin, and he says it starts off in Uganda, the civilization. So I can see all these ideas have traveled, and they've gone throughout the world. And we don't hear too much about Africans bringing civilization into different parts of the world or building great structures. And I think by building all these great structures and having all this knowledge to do this is what helped Africans be able to get that respect. Like we were saying last time about the Olmecs when you mentioned about Runoko Rashidi.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. It's like, because that was one of the great shows that you had brought into Big Condo Online was your hour-long Zoom conversation with Runoko Rashidi. And, I mean, on that show, we couldn't actually show images at that time. But I know if anybody were to actually to look up Runoko Rashidi, he has a lot of pictures with the Olmec heads and everything else like that. But one of the things he often talks about is how, the African kind of structure to the faces of those heads. Yeah. And that's why I was asking, do you think that this has an African influence? Because of, obviously with my own personal research as well and listening to you as well as Patrick, is like the seafarers from Mali.
Yeah.
They went all over the world, and Cambodia could have been a place.
Well, there's actually a connection with Cambodia and Mexico. There's different. Because I look at the comparative studies, I don't just listen to one person. There's a funny story of when the Spanish, the story of the Mayans disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay. Some people didn't say they didn't just disappear. Some people believe they got shipped to Cambodia.
Really? Okay.
By the Olmecs because supposedly the Mayans were into human sacrifice.
Did not. Well, yes, I knew about that.
Supposedly,
we've seen a movie always the feathered serpent and all that kind of stuff with those big step pyramids and the sacrifices at the top of them.
Now, this story I'm going into, he basically says that the Mayans are the children of the Olmecs. So the fathers would be the Olmecs, and then obviously the Mongoloid race would have mixed with them. The way the Mongol came from the Bering Strait.
Yeah.
So the Mayans are supposed to be the offspring of the Africans or the indigenous black people of Americas.
Wow.
And either the Chinese, or if you want to call them the Mongoloid, there was a mixture.
And let's be clear. When you say Mongoloid, you mean Mongols, like in you know what I mean? Not the negative terminology of Mongoloid.
Yeah,
so let's just be clear.
Not the negative. Some people say Australoid, or they say Caucasoid.
No, but you get me. I get you.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at some more pictures because, I mean, obviously, this is what I like about this is because we often describe you as a world traveler. You often talk about the places you've been. So let's look at, like, some other people because, like, you love to, like, showcase yourself with some of the people that are there.
Yeah.
And so let's say with this picture here.
Now, this is the chief in Malaysia. Now,
that's a pretty small chief.
Yeah, well, Well, the very small peoples, these indigenous peoples of Southeast Asia.
All right, okay, yeah.
Now, this was the chief where I spotted him on, he was standing on some high hill, and I've took a picture, and then the tall man was saying, well, you can't meet him. So obviously that I didn't include me. I just went up there, I met them, got some pictures, I met a lot of the peoples there, and it was a blessing to meet them, the Orange Asley tribe. I was there with me cousin Daniel.
Yeah,
and he's on some of the other pictures.
And he's been on one of your shows.
He's been on Discovering, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And it was a great experience there. It's a rainforest, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing now.
You know, you've got tigers, you've got snakes there. You know, we using the blow darts, and it was amazing, like, experience, and it's a beautiful rainforest.
Hey, do you remember what tribe he's the chief of?
He's Orange Asley.
Orange Asley. So what does that mean? I mean, never heard that one.
It means original people.
Nice.
Original people or first people. That's how it's kind of described.
Right. Cool.
And I'm happy to see that they're getting highlighted now, because you don't see nothing about these people, you know.
No. I mean, can you explain a little bit about how, like, colonization may have affected the descendants of the original peoples?
Yeah, well, we're going way back now. We're dealing with about 40,000 years ago. These are the first people that reached
40,
Malaysia.
40,000?
At least 40,000. It could be longer. Now, this is
That's like 30,000 BC or something?
A little longer than that, yeah.
What the? I've never, I mean, for most people, especially American bad education, 30,000 before Christ.
So let's say, for example, when people are going to first leave Africa, these are going to take a coastal migration route, and they're going to cut through where it's kind of Saudi Arabia area, coming into the Persian Gulf, through the coast of India, going through Burma, Southeast Asia, then about 40,000 years ago. And then some have gone to Thailand, Philippines, and then they've spread to Melanesia. Now, these are the first peoples. Now, later on, you're going to get people coming into Malaysia. After that, you're going to, in the last, say, like I say, these are 40,000 years old, but then...
How many of them are left, do you think?
Oh, they are declining in numbers.
Of course they are. That's what I'm saying. How many do you think are left?
To give, like, rough figures, I'd say about maybe... Because there's three subgroups.
Okay. But, I mean, just it doesn't matter mathematically. Like 100, 1,000, or...
A couple of thousand, I'd say.
Okay.
A couple of thousand. But
I mean, so there's still a survival of that culture is what I mean.
Now they say that 60% you can see them, and the other 40% you don't see them. They just stay out in the wild, and they're, more of a hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
So.
More Neolithic people.
Yeah.
So let's look at another one, because now I'm really fascinated and intrigued.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
So we're moving into, this is the nighttime when they reached in Thailand. Now this experience was like, I mean, I'm by myself. I've took a 7-hour bus ride. There's about 2 different buses. And I thought, once I got there, I thought, I'm here now. And then a lot of people were saying, no, you're not here. And then I'm trying to I'm figuring out how am I going to get to this rainforest, and it's getting late now. And a few people said to me, there's no buses.
Not only how you're going to get there, but how you're going to get back.
Well, the bus is finished. So
I know, that's what I mean.
So I was just like, oh my God. But I'm one of them people, I still not giving up. Some people say, why don't you just stay in a local hut or something, and then...
Yeah, well, did you?
Well, what happened is I met some friendly people, and I said, can you even get a taxi to take me in there? They said, there's no taxis around here. This is south of Thailand. So they said, there's no taxis, but you'll have random people who might just take you in there. And I said, well, okay, what did he charge? He said, oh, we don't charge. So I'm obviously going to give him some. So they've took me in there now. It's about maybe 11 in the night, finally. And then we had to meet up with like a kind of a ranger. And when I say a ranger, like, you can't just go in there in the middle of the night by yourself, because he just start hitting you with the blow darts. And so,
yeah, what can we get for this guy?
Yeah, so he said, grab a torch. You're going to need your torch. So I'm shining the torch everywhere. And then next minute, he give a little, like a little whistle to them to let them know we're coming. And then we come in there, and I was just amazed to see them just in the little bamboo huts. And they had even huger blowguns.
Yeah. So which tribe is this again?
This is the Mani tribe.
The Mani tribe.
Yeah.
And weren't you telling me about the Mani before?
Yeah, I mentioned about on the on the return one I did with you.
Yeah. I mean, but there was something about the Mani tribe, I think. It wasn't Bantu, but what would you say about the Mani tribe?
The Mani tribe, I'd say they'd be dead about, say, 35,000 years ago. And
35,000?
Yeah. Now, the same story with the Orange Asli and the Mani tribe. Now, we've got to be careful with the Mani because there's supposedly only about 300 people left.
They're like an endangered species.
Most definitely. That's why I made up to show them, because eventually, you know, they could just be extinct through whether it's diseases or get killed off, or, you know, but they're very special people. And as you can see, they just look like just like ourselves, people from
black
but
I mean, you're looking at like, but their ancestry is like more than that, isn't it?
And the history, when we go way back, we're dealing with the first invaders to these lands, like in the last, say about 3,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago. There's an Austronesian migration that comes out of Taiwan and southern China. And this expansion is a large population. And it would have been like a mixture of Mongoloid and Aboriginal people from Taiwan and southern China. Because now south of China now is obviously a lot different than how it was. There was a lot of black folks there.
Well, this goes back to what you said on one of the shows you did with me about how there were black samurais.
Oh, yeah, in ancient, Japan in it. Like,
yeah, but I mean, you know, I mean, you're talking about, when you're talking about Australasian or whatever, you're talking about this mixture that went.
Yeah.
You know, this diversity went further back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you watching out there, this is just fascinating to me, and hopefully it is to you, is that, I mean, because we could research these people as well. So when you're naming them, I really hope that people are encouraged to look these tribes up and everything, which is why I keep asking you to repeat stuff. All right, so let's go to the next picture there. Everything, because I'm just curious about time.
Yeah, but these are definitely, like, you know, got to be careful, don't come extinct soon. I mean, we're moving into Tonga now. This is it's South Pacific. Tonga's considered as Polynesia, the way you have Melanesia, meaning the Black Islands. You have Polynesia, the many islands. You also have Micronesia, which is the small islands. So we're in Polynesia, and this is Tonga. And this is a place that we stayed. It's kind of like a little hostel. I got friendly with the guy who owns it. I still keep in touch with him.
Now, this guy obviously is a local fisherman.
And this is a local fisherman.
And look at them fish in that bowl. I mean, I don't know fish, but they look like a big rainbow trout in a way. But that's some big fish.
Very big fish. Well, some of the best places to fish out here, though.
Well, I mean, those fish that sea is not poisoned by, like, plastic.
Oh, no, these are healthy. Well, I tasted them, and they were so amazing. Great cooks as well.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
You could probably feed the whole village on that.
Yeah. And honest to God, it was amazing. And the Tongan people, they're very unique people. I don't really know many people been to Tonga. And, you know, what's it took about 22 hours to fly there?
Yeah. You know? I'm just kind of curious, right? I mean, these are great places you've been and people you've seen. But, I mean, obviously, in your pictures, the first thing that comes to my mind is the colonization again, because they're wearing kind of like Western style clothing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not expecting them to be, native and wearing grass skirts. Please don't think I'm saying that. But, I mean, I just wonder, like, I mean, obviously, for you, according to their culture and, traditions, I mean, like, is there anything that is different that they've maintained that you found different to what we have in the Western?
Yeah. Well, I'd say what the good thing about Tonga is you see a lot of green there.
Like, I can imagine.
Now there's not too many shops once you start driving into like an area where it's just road and it's just all grass everywhere.
Yeah.
And every now and again you'll see a little small shop pop up.
Yeah.
A Chinese owned shop. And it's since like in the last day, what are we in now? Say like I went there 2015. So you've got different people from Asia sort of trying to move into the Pacific. But this is not a new thing. To some people, it looks like a new thing.
Right.
There's been an expansion, like we were talking about, the Mongoloid invasions into ancient America.
Yeah.
This has been going on through Southeast Asia, like we've seen with the Mani, the Orange Asli, the expansion of the Mongoloid. You had Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
You know, people like that. And they've been, this is why they call these Polynesians, and because there was a mixture of Austronesians. It's like the mixture of the blacks and the Mongoloid race. And that's why some of them look similar. You see some of the Tongans.
I'm kind of curious about when you're using the term Nesians, right? Because you got Polynesians, you got Micronesians. I mean, what does Nesian mean?
Nesian, that's a good question. That I'm not too sure what the Nesian actually means, but it's basically it's put there by Europeans, isn't it? You know, that's what it basically is. So, and here we go. Okay, this is the chief in the Fiji Islands. And this is Nadi Fiji. And
Nadi Fiji?
Nadi, yeah. Now, our work with him is I got talking so well to the local people. And then I was explaining to them when I knew about them coming from Africa. Yeah. And they were really happy that I embraced their culture before they got there. And, you know, we just got on so well. In the end, he said, I want you to meet the chief. So we had to meet the spokesman first.
Yeah, of course.
Show.
Was there a language barrier?
No, they actually speak very good English, the Fijian. It's not the first language.
I can't really see in his facial structure, you know, as far as what does he favor, you know, because he just looks like kind of like my grandpa, you know. He looks like somebody that would be in the local, you know. I mean, you know what I mean, like with the white hair and everything else like that.
Yeah, you
know. But I mean, like you could probably see it like in his eyes or whatever or anything like that. Can you see any difference?
Yeah, you know, it was a spiritual feeling. You know,
well, obviously, of course. I mean, you know, as a chief as well, he probably has a lot of like stories. Like, do they do a lot of like griot stories where they pass the history down verbally, or?
Yeah, a lot of old traditions, especially the fact that they say that they came from Lake Tanganyika, which is the Tanzania area in East Africa.
Nice.
And they were aware of. I knew this before they got there.
Yeah.
And also, this is the second day I met him when I got the picture, but the first day we had to go there traditional and present him with kava, a kava plant. And that's what we drink, I explained last time. Now, these two fellas, the one with the colourful shirt, the blue shirt, he's a spokesman for the chief. So before you go to see the chief, you must report to the spokesman.
Yeah.
And the spokesman's house is over the road from the chief's. But you must go through the spokesman. Now, the other fella on my right, he's the warrior of the tribe.
He's the warrior?
Yeah.
He had to fight in a while, has he?
That's it. Definitely. But he was, what happened with the...
he's like the sergeant in arms, but, you know, hey, I can have a beer with you and tell you about my fighting days.
Yeah. Now, what it was is the first day I got to meet the chief, he wasn't there, the warrior. Now, when I came the second day to get the picture, he was wondering, how did you he sat me in the room for an hour before the chief came into the room.
Yeah.
I'm like, just waiting. I've come to get me picture with the chief and meet the chief.
Yeah.
So he interrogated me for about an hour.
The warrior did.
Yeah, the warrior. He was confused of how did you get to meet him without going through him. I said, well, I went through the spokesman. So
you bypassed me, bruh.
It was, put it this way, I did pass the interrogation pass anyway. He basically want to study you.
Well, they want to know what your intention is, right? Correct. I mean, like, obviously, it's like you're letting someone into the camp in a circle. Yeah. You can't just do it. I mean, so obviously from your interest. Yeah. Of wanting to be there, and more than likely with your knowledge as well. Yeah. It's like, you know, so it's like, hey, he's just not anybody and stuff like that. So.
Now, this is 2013, September times.
Right.
And this is where I started becoming a lot more spiritual. I just felt the
So,
energy.
I mean, how long were you traveling at this time? 2-3 years? Or
2006 I started, really started.
So, like about 7 years?
Yeah. I was always spiritual from the beginning, but this was like...
No, I get you, bruv. I meant, like, after seeing so many different peoples, right?
Yeah, it built up where... This come to a point where of the word knowing and believing. This, once I got it... Because before I got to Fiji, it was basically I was explaining that, like, I had feelings I was going to meet someone of importance. And then once... I got there, when I got to meet the chief, I felt that spiritual connection, like it was all meant to be.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I know, I dig that. I mean, so this is like the last picture like we have for you for now. But what I'm fascinated about this particular picture is that you said that this was a Stonehenge in where?
Tonga.
Which means that there are pretty much henges all over the planet.
Henges everywhere.
You know, but so tell us about this particular one.
So this is the round about the 12th century round times, and it's
at least it's not 35.
Oh no. well, people did only enter Tonga supposedly around just after people entered Fiji, so 1500 BC.
Right.
So they would have later just entered Tonga not long after that. Now this is the Stonehenge, and it's
so how many of these structures are there? Is it just this one, or are there a couple next to each other?
Well, this is the only actual Stonehenge like we're looking at. These are the structures like the three-step pyramid, or some of these huge stones, but nothing like this. This
is not like a henge, because a henge is usually like a wall of stones.
This is the only henge that I've seen, and it's amazing. And supposedly it was for the kings and they say the chief Neil to protect himself from assassination attempts that could later on come on his life from his enemies. So there's a lot of some people might call it superstition, but it's very means something to them.
No, but I remember we were talking about this beforehand. It's because, like, if anybody could notice in this, is the structure itself, like that top, wall above it, connecting the two stones. It looks in a way like it's slotted in.
Yeah.
And it's one of those amazing megalithic structures that is like seems impossible to actually make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were kind of like saying, like, look at the grass that is around you. It's like this could all have been underwater at that time. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
And stuff. And then erosion in time made it look like this. But I mean, and that's usually the case with a lot of these big, large megalithic structures. It's not like, some conspiracy theorists to go, ooh, alien spaceport. But it is also what we talked about, the acuity of man without TV. Like the people, we think they are less, but they're actually more because they have more time, more knowledge, more creativity to actually build something like this.
Definitely an advanced civilization from...
Yeah, exactly, like Atlantis.
There's a lot more to it. I don't believe just some aliens came down and...
Yeah. That was a joke.
Well, you know what? I mean, I understand. I've looked at the comparative studies. I've looked at people like David Icke, for example.
Right.
He mentions about how could...
Oh, wait. Let's not go down that road.
people like that, they make, how could you carry this big stone? And
exactly. Why, you're just an African. How could you? I'm not going that road. Anyway, listen, man, that was amazing. But, like, again, and going back over, your first season here at Big Condo Online with Discovering, I mean, like, because you even said it's like you started to build a fan base with each, show. And, I mean, did you actually communicate with anybody? Did you actually figure out what people were enjoying about your show that you were told?
The Discovering show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've got so many different kind of guests on it. And everyone's all got their own uniqueness.
Yeah.
No one really sounds alike. And... Right. I think with especially in Liverpool, we need something like this,
Yeah, I mean, because also too is we just had a heavy year and hopefully coming out of it. But it was like, to me, like if I had to describe what I think is important about the Discovering with James Diboe show is I look at it as a world history show. I look at it as the information that is transferred. Like the topics that are talked about. I find myself enlightened, educated about things, and inspired to go check things out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like with that being said, is that coming to the end of your season, we're looking to obviously do a season 2, but we were about to launch a special that involves these pictures. So can you just tell people a little bit about the special that will be coming up?
Yeah, so we've got a slideshow coming up soon about a lot of different places in the world. Some of them are like pictures like you see now, some of the structures around the world, plus the indigenous peoples around the world. Some people, you can call them tribes, indigenous peoples. And the reason why I say indigenous tribes and peoples, because sometimes people look how someone's dressed, so... But definitely, I'm looking forward to it because this is anticipated. I felt like I should have done this a long time ago, but maybe now is the right time to start promoting it more, which I always like put on social media. Like I send a lot of pictures of chiefs, different places, but now it's time to do a solid
but a picture,
slideshow.
like the words, the stories are a lot more in depth, I think.
Most definitely.
If you're enjoying the show as it is like to be able to look at a special that is strictly going to be on these kind of like visual representations of your travels.
Yeah.
You are obviously what we say on the tin, a world traveler and everything. And the history and the knowledge that you already have and you're passing on is a way for people to actually be inspired to go out and educate themselves more.
Definitely.
We need more of this world history stuff. We could continue to call it Black history until they actually start doing it. But we need more of this. And I got to tell you, because what I would really like to know really is that what is it about those cultures? So, like, you often talk about who you've met, you're being there, but I would love to really know more about these tribes that you're talking about. What are their customs, what were they known for? It's kind of like when you talk about hunter-gatherers or Neolithic peoples, there are people that had a specialty, or when you talk about the Maasai and all of those kind of things, they had a specialism that they're famous for. So, I would like to know more about that myself. And everything. And but also too is that because Big Condo Online is changing, what we're doing is we're also opening ourselves up for call-ins. Because I know that when you start talking about this, that, and my mind get blown. And so, hopefully, people could actually call in or send a message in. We're going to probably also, create a discovering page that you could get through Big Condo Online.
Yeah.
So, and when the new season starts, people will be able to actually send in questions that you can actually relate to on air. So it's like, okay, we got a question from this person, question from that person. So either way is we're trying to build, we're trying to grow. And I look forward to discovering with James Diboe coming in for season 2.
Definitely.
And I hope you will be able to watch. So we know that, this is coming out and everything, and to watch your review, your slideshow review special.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think we already are kind of joked, but really we'll hopefully get Runoko Rashidi back as well.
Oh, definitely be happy to get Runoko Rashidi back. I keep in touch with him. He does a lot of different Zooms. You can watch him on the YouTube. Because he can't travel himself.
Yeah.
And this is the man who's been 125 countries around the world in search of the global African presence. So he's like, he's had his time to do all the traveling, but I can see he still wants to do it like myself, and he's inspired me a lot.
Well, then also hopefully, I know like Raz Congo, he's looking to come back on here before he heads off to Rwanda and everything like that, if he could get out of the country.
Oh yeah, Raz.
But like maybe when he gets over there to Rwanda, hopefully he can contact us from there, and then we can actually get do that kind of a Zoom as well.
Yeah.
So there's a potential. The main thing I would just like to say is that discovering with James Diboe is always about discovering something new.
That's it. Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And it's like for you are the man who is bringing that discovery to us. And so we'd like to thank you for that here at Big Condo Online. So please, if you enjoyed this updated podcast here with James, please, again, like and subscribe. And also, let's start to make ourselves interactive where we can, get more education. More education comes from more questions.
That's right.
So more questions from you, the audience. You know, what would you like to ask James about? Because you have been watching, and please, you can always follow up because the playlist is now on. Well, as it always been, is. Did you also know, James?
Yeah, I seen the playlist.
Wait. Did you also know, James? That Big Condo Online is also on the audio podcast platforms.
I didn't know.
Isn't that right, Blake? So that means you, we'll send you the link, but definitely. You can send everybody your audio so that they could just listen to you talk. But wow. You're on Spotify.
Wow.
You're on Google Podcasts.
Wow, amazing.
You're on Apple Music.
Unbelievable.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, like, this has only just occurred at this time. But, like, so if you want to follow, again, Big Condo Online, all our new programs that we are giving you this year, we have now put them all on audio podcasts, so you can listen to them in your car. You know what I mean? So, like, you know, and everything. And so the main thing is you can listen to this man talk about history, travel, the world, and everything. So, we definitely look forward to you returning.
Oh, yeah.
In the new year and stuff. So, once again, I'd like to thank James Diboe for coming to me here on the Community Podcast once again.
Thank you very much, Chase. And I always look forward to being on the Big Condo Online. You know, it's a long history from back in August. Now we're 6 months ahead.
Yeah.
And so much has happened.
Well, no, exactly. We're in the new year and we're in new things. So I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Again, please like and subscribe. It's that call to action. And let us know what you think and who else or maybe you want to hear and find out more about. I'm Chase Johnson Lynch. This is the Community Podcast, and we're out of here.
Peace out, everyone. Thank you.